What's up, world? It's your girl, Bobby Penn, the voice of the culture, and I wanted to tap into this Jess Hilarious, Loren LoRosa, The Breakfast Club situation that we are watching play out in real time. I do have experience in corporate media, both in television with Fox News and radio. I've worked with Radio 1, MS Communications, which is the holder or was the holder of Hot 97 and WBLS in New York. My thoughts are more general than anything specific. My advice is coming from a perspective of recognizing some situations that have happened in my professional experience that feels like it could be happening here. I've never been a C-suite executive, so take my advice with a grain of salt. I'm also not here to determine who is better suited for the role, who's more talented. That's not the point. I am just kind of speaking from a perspective of, if I could talk to my younger self, here's some things that I would think about. And this advice could be applicable to any aspiring media personalities, college students, young people entering the workforce, and anybody who is mid-career who feels like they're facing some weird energy in the office setting. I'm going to speak on just a couple of topics. First and foremost, if there is space for 4 seats on that show, awesome. I think everybody brings value to the show that is there. Charlamagne and DJ Envy are the founders of the show. They are men. We have come to expect them to be the Breakfast Club. Jess Hilarious 110% earned her spot. She auditioned. She showed up. She is good at what she does. She is a comedic genius. Her timing is impeccable. The way she views and filters current events is unique. And likewise, Loren LoRosa is a studied journalist. She has experience reporting the news. She has the contacts and the resources. She knows how to conduct interviews, and she's clearly passionate about that. So having all of those energies together, I think, would be great. However, I'm wondering if this is part of the problem as well. We still have to consider the fact that this is corporate radio. This is not a podcast. And the purpose of any corporate entity is to make money, period. So if budgeting for the Breakfast Club has been nailed down to 3 seats, then I can understand where some of the tension may be coming from, because maybe there isn't truly room for 4. We also don't know what was negotiated in anyone's contracts, particularly Jess's contract, right? So if Jess was contracted to do certain segments, offer certain value to the show at this rate, how someone else is doing those segments, I could see that impacting the bag. And also appointment setting, right? Being able to rely on a consistent format for the show, being able to rely on consistent voices for the show is also important when it comes to what your audience expects, right? I know for years we knew that we were going to tune in and we were going to hear Charlamagne, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee handle these different aspects of the show, and that's what made it work. So I think the inconsistency is also off-putting to the audience, which is why people have been so vocal in the YouTube comments, in the Instagram comments, letting the station know what they like and what they didn't like. The thing that stood out to me, I remember coming into some of these roles with one title, as an online editor, as a producer, having the skill set, the network, the desire to fill other roles, and how that was perceived from various levels within the company. Different people, based on their motives, are going to perceive that differently. I can think of instances where I had relationships to be on red carpets or access to certain entertainers to get interviews. Because I had that relationship already, the people, the talent, the artists, the celebrities might respond to me, or even the publicists, the managers might respond to me differently because we had that rapport already than they did the person who was actually on air. And I felt that I was trying my best in these instances to mediate that and play the middleman, but you, again, never know how other people perceive it. And I remember that being an issue once upon a time. Also, that desire to be on air, because I've been YouTubing and building a social media platform, etc. I had some talent who would embrace it and make space for me on their show, allow me to come on and just sit in the studio with them and watch them work the board, and even work with me to build my air check and really learn the business and learn the game. And then I also had talent who would refuse to allow any of that. They didn't want me in the studio with them. They would never allow me to touch the microphone on their show, whether they were there or not. In fact, they sometimes would go so far as to like never take leave. They would be in the studio coughing between breaks or otherwise unwell because they didn't want to allow anybody the opportunity to have that spot, potentially outshine them, showcase something different from what they do and what they're used to. So this is a very competitive industry. As you heard Jess say, she has such reverence for the show, the brand, what it represents, what it stands for, and how bad she wanted it. And I can only imagine that Loren probably also sees the opportunity the same way. So tricky situation. And I feel like that is also maybe a hard reality when it comes to Jess and her pregnancy. In her live that went viral yesterday, she mentioned that she intended to get pregnant at that time and she doesn't regret it, and that in this business there is no right time to have a child. And personally, as a woman who doesn't have children, so you feel free to disagree with me, but I disagree with that statement. I do think that timing matters, especially in this particular instance. So she talked about being there for a year and a half with the Breakfast Club, but that was during the audition process. So once you finally were designated as that third chair, you are the official host. Within a matter of months, you're gone before you have established that rapport with your audience, before you have established your space in the Breakfast Club ecosystem, before people really got a chance to love the cohesion of that three-part group. You're gone for several months at a time. It did allow the space and the opportunity for Loren LoRosa to step in, show something different, to build that rapport with the audience, to build that chemistry with Charlemagne and Envy. I think that was a misstep. I'm sorry. I don't know that you were there long enough to have taken that much time off. I think that you were going to come back and things were going to be exactly the same. So I don't know what was discussed behind the scenes. I don't know what was discussed with management. Again, from my personal experience of how I understand things to work, from just a fan and a listener standpoint, I think that was a misstep. And I think that it would have been better timed if she would have established her place on the Breakfast Club a little more before taking maternity leave. I want to just end on this note. The advice that I would have given my younger self, this is chess and not checkers. Watching Loren LoRosa show up to the Breakfast Club today just kind of proved her awareness of this type of setting and situation. And I applaud her for that. And again, I wish that I had that type of knowledge and awareness when I was presented the opportunities that I had in corporate, period. It is a very competitive game. You have to think strategically and less emotionally. And just be mindful of the moves you make, how you interact with your peers, your counterparts, how you position yourself. I know it's hard not to operate from emotion when people are downplaying you, when people are questioning your skill set, when you maybe even acknowledging this other person's greatness can identify some areas of improvement within yourself. I can relate to that, but don't ever let anybody trick you out your spot. It's always better to get fired than to quit or leave too soon. So don't put yourself in a position to cheat yourself out of something that you have earned, something that you want, something that you're good at. So I just want to sum all of this up again by saying everybody in this particular situation is good at what they do. They offer different value. The question becomes, what does the Breakfast Club want to be to the culture? What do they want to be as a business? How do they want to move forward? That's my 2 cents on this topic. Let me know what you think in the comments and make sure you hit follow for more analysis and conversations like this.